So, it's been about just under 6 years since the audio originally came out, and I've been using it in my talks, my corporate gigs, my mental toughness training workshops, and thousands and thousands of people have heard this audio, and we've had a lot of discussions about what it means to be all in, how to use it, right? How to choose it. And we've had a lot of discussions in these workshops. In fact, many times when I go to do a training, a mental toughness training for, say, a large sales team, say there's like 200 people in the room, in advance I'll send the audio program to the boss to disseminate it, to have everybody listen to it in advance so we can have an advanced conversation about it. So we start talking about the distinction between a goal and a decision, and everybody in the room already knows what that means. We don't need to get into that. So, one of the most poignant questions that's come up from folks that have listened to and practiced applying, the all-in decision, is this: what do you do when you've been all in on a particular project for a decent amount of time, months, maybe even a couple of years, and you're just not getting the results? It's just not happening. Like, am I a loser if I bail? Like, should I stay all in forever? And this is a really super intelligent question. This is as legit as it gets as far as clarification questions on the all-in state, in my opinion. And my answer is, it depends. Okay? So let's break this down. There is no such thing as failure, right? We've already addressed that. All results are useful, right? All results are forward progress. So, like using the example of Thomas Edison and the light bulb, it took him like 1,000 times to get it right. That didn't mean he failed 1,000 times. In fact, somebody, I think, interviewed him, right? Someone from the media after he finally got it right said, "What's it feel like to fail 1,000 times?" And he goes, "I don't know." And they said, "Well, it took you 1,000 times to get it right." He goes, "Yeah, none of that was failure. That was all progress. It's like the light bulb was an invention that had 1,000 steps." What an amazing paradigm shift, right? And that's why he was so masterful. That's why he was so creative. That's why he was so persistent. It wasn't even to him. It wasn't even persistent. It was just like taking the walk. Like, there's a few more steps. Let's persist on, if that's the way you want to call it. But we're just finishing the project. Now, what's also interesting about that is that it's entirely possible that the light bulb was a mistake on its own. Like, maybe he was, and I'm not verifying this, but I will in a second with other examples. It's entirely possible. I wish Edison was here and say, "Was that the original intent?" And he might go, "Yeah," but he might say, "Actually, I was thinking about something else that wasn't working out the way I had originally intended. But as a consequence of having moved towards that original intent, that original invention, I discovered, oh, well, there's this." Here's another example of a total failure. That's a mistake. Apple was working on, and I think the iPad too, they're working on something else. They're working on something else, and that's the product. Mistake. Oh, woe is me. Whoops. You know what else is a failure? You know what else is total failure? Yeah, Post-its. Total, look that up. Google that. Fail. Epic fail. The engineers were trying to create an adhesive for something else that this wasn't strong enough for. Look up that story. This is a complete freaking failure. Whoops. So, to the all-in mind, there's only progress. And I used in this last chapter, which was entitled, "What if it's not working out?" Right? Which is it's a flawed question. It's always working out. If you're all in, every outcome it's working out. Thinking it's not working out is the illusion, is the problem. So we'll say, we use the analogy of like taking a road trip and going on switchbacks, and like say, this is just like, we'll just say this is like the road. We're going up, up a hill, and we're ultimately going that way. But here's the road, and now we're taking a switchback going this way. When the ultimate destination is that way, is that failure? No, it's progress. Every inch we go, because like we say, you pull it out straight, and that's the road. So every inch you move, no matter what the direction is progress. That's just the shape of the road, right? So it's like I'm doing a puzzle, doing a big jigsaw, a huge jigsaw puzzle, and I'm trying all these pieces and seeing what fits here, and I take one and it doesn't fit. Do I go, oh, I failed? I failed again. I keep failing here. I'm failing much more than I'm succeeding. This doesn't feel good. No, you just keep going, right? Because you know there's a solution. Now, that being said, let's use a real example of like in sales, okay? Say that you are a sales exec for an enterprise software company, and you're selling all the security software to big companies, and you get all in on the decision to close the biggest deal that your company has ever had. Like, we're talking game changer, like eight-figure kind of, multiple eight-figure program. Like, we'll just pick, and this is totally hypothetical. We'll just say we're selling all this software, like tens of millions of dollars worth of software to a company like Disney, for example. It's just one of the biggest companies right in the world. I'm randomly picking them. This is not a real example that I know of. I'm sure that it is. I just don't know of it. So, and I work on that for like a few years, and I'm not getting the results that I want. I have now because I'm all in, and I have been all in, and I've been getting back all in so many times throughout the years, past couple of years. I have made some really bold moves, like bold moves. I have, say I get to the point where I'm like, I really think that I have exhausted my creativity, my bold, masterful, creative action on this. I think it's time to redirect. Like I have interviewed tons of employees, and showed them the product, and conducted lots of surveys, and got all kinds of feedback from Disney employees whose opinions are relevant to this, who said we could really use your product. Your software would totally make it easier for us to succeed. I've gathered all that information. I've collated it. I've organized it. I've put it together into impressive presentations. I have made numerous attempts to contact actually the CEO of Disney because I've gone through gatekeepers. I mean, I'm sure there's more that I could do. However, I'm at a point where I'm just now having the awareness that given all the data, all the progress that I've made with my all-in creative attempts, that Disney may not be the right one. I'm still all in on the prime objective, which is I am closing the biggest deal that this company has ever seen. Okay? I'm all in on that. I'm simply, based on all of the research that I've been doing and the results that I've been gathering, I'm now coming to the intelligent conclusion that I'm not going to force things. The results are showing me that right now, at least, Disney isn't the customer for whatever reasons. And I'm not even going to be upset about Disney or anything. I say, okay, so now the next step in doing what it takes, right, is to start researching other companies. So a handful of other companies that would be the most obvious, no-brainer, perfect match for our product. Go find the companies, the huge companies that could really, really use the product or the service that I'm selling, right? That would make them more successful, and they may not even know about it. So it's my job to go find them. And I'm still all in on that. So that's not failure, right? So the question is, you didn't quit. You never. So the question, when they say it's not working out, no. It's always working out. Just look at the data unemotionally and very scientifically, and saying, what's working out is I'm still making forward progress on being the person who's making the biggest sale this company has ever seen, closing the biggest deal ever. And I'm using my intellect and my enthusiasm, right, and my boldness and my creativity to discover who's it going to be with. And based on all, over the past 2 years, I have just discovered so many new creative ways of like packaging my pitch, of preparing my sales pitch, of researching, of relationship building, all these new ideas that I had never had before, all the experience that I created with Disney, all the failures that that will serve me tremendously, powerfully going forward with all the work that I continue to do in the future. So it's all progress, right? So the question is, Flaw, what if it's not working out, right? And what if I quit? It's not quitting. It's all moving forward. Just use your intuition, use your gut, trust your gut, do what it takes, gather the data, and when you get to the point where you feel like, okay, it's time to redirect now, based on all the information, it's time to redirect and do that. All right, so that's the clarification point that I wanted to make for you. All right, talk to you soon.